Hey, what is up, DCS crew? It is Carlos back at it today with a video on a Spyderco model that I was kind of conflicted with regards to whether I should buy, whether I should hold, and just stick to what I got. And that's the Spyderco Para 3 Lightweight. As you can see here, I have the standard Para 3, and I mean, as far as FRN, I have a couple other models, but this is my stalwart. This is the Spyderco Dragonfly 2. I waited on picking up the Para 3 Lightweight because I wasn't really big on the BD1N steel, and I didn't think that it was kind of going to be something that would make an immediate impact in my pocket. So what I basically did was I said, okay, either, you know, somebody like Knife Center is going to come out with their version of, you know, the brown FRN with the CTS XHP, kind of like they did with the lightweight Manix 2, which was an awesome knife, by the way. Or there's going to be another company that's going to step up to the plate. And in this particular case, it was DLT Trading. DLT Trading went ahead and came out with their version. It's model C223PRD. That's the Para 3 in red FRN and M390 steel. So stay tuned, and we're going to go ahead and unbox this and talk a little bit about it and see how it compares to the standard Para 3, what I think with regards to the FRN, and just my overall thoughts about it. Welcome back. Okay, so right down to the nitty gritty, just an FYI, I am not going to go over the specs, I guess the dimension specs for the Para 3 because the lightweight, because in actuality it very closely mimics the standard Para 3 down to the compression lock. The thickness is slightly thinner on the Para 3 lightweight, but that's to be considered because of the fact that, you know, the FRN is slightly thinner than the G10, not by much. It also has a nested liner on one side for the compression lock, and then it's full FRN on the other side. And there are nested liners on both sides for the standard Para 3 in G10. Now, this is the G10 model with S30V steel. This has been my workhorse. I have as you can see, an MXG deep carry clip, and for good reason. I mean, the standard clip that comes with the normal G10 Para 3s, it rides a bit high in the pocket because of the fact that it has this lanyard hole, and then there are three, well, here you can see it on this side. There's the lanyard hole, and then there are these three holes, and that's where the clip would be. The clip basically allows your pocket to go ahead and slip it into the pocket to like about here, which leaves about a quarter to a half inch out. I don't exactly like that. I mean, I'm just, you know, I guess it's me being pedantic. It is what it is. So with the Para 3 lightweight, one of the things that they did was they included the deep carry wire clip that you would typically see in other knives. That's, you know, like your Dragonfly 2, I think the Sage also has it as well. I could be wrong, but yeah, nice clip. I haven't had a problem with it. It's great for slacks when I'm going to use something for an office EDC, and yeah, it hasn't done me wrong just yet. So I did want to go ahead and confess, before the lightweight version came out and there was news of the lightweight version, I actually saw the prototype that Eric Lesser was carrying around during Blade Show 2018. He didn't let me videotape it when I passed by the Spyderco booth, but he showed it to me, and it was really cool because it's come a long way since you know, the production model. I mean, the production model has come a long way ever since they introduced the prototype. So basically what the prototype had, if I recall correctly, it was S35VN steel. It was the scales, you know, an FRN, but they were translucent and they were like an amber color. It did have the compression lock and it did have the wire clip, He showed it to me. The action was still kind of finicky because he was still getting the ins and outs sorted. It was his first working prototype model for the Para 3 that was designed, and he got it done so that he could start carrying it a little bit and talk about it during Blade Show 2018. And that's how far the Spyderco Para 3 lightweight comes, full circle, basically. When it was released, I mean, in comparison to the standard G10 Para 3, for the G10 Para 3, you're looking at about, I want to say like about just under, I want to say around 3.5 ounces. And the lightweight Para 3 actually shaves about an ounce off of that altogether. So you're looking at about 2.5 ounces. Now, it is known as the as red G10, but the truth is, if you look at it very closely, as opposed to, the actual box, the box is a nice vibrant red, and this is more like a crimson or almost like a maroon color. It's not really, a very bright ruby red, but it's still very nice. I think it's red, but it's subdued, so it's not like a popping out like, hey, look at me, I'm really red, if that is such a thing. If you look at the scales, it's bidirectional texturing in the FRN. And then right here, you have the Spyderco logo, which is the Spyderco Spider. And it says Para 3 on the top and Spyderco on the bottom. It has it on both sides. And the cool thing is, and this is something that they do with all of their clips, the way that their clips are designed is they're built so that right in the area where the clip kind of divots and it makes contact with the pocket itself, that retention point, it's right where it hits the flats instead of the FRN. So you have a flat spot that doesn't wear onto your pants or your slacks as the bidirectional FRN would. So that's something I really liked about the design for their knives, and they have executed it very well with the deep carry clip, which, by the way, is also left or right transferable, tip up only on this particular knife. Okay, so as with the standard Para 3, you have the Spyderco bug, you have the blade steel, and then on the other side, you would have Glesser's Maker's Mark. Let me see if I can go ahead and highlight those. There we go. And then you have Golden Colorado, USA Earth, and then you have, you have Eric and Sal's information on there. You have their Maker's Mark on both, this being Sal, that being Eric. So aside from that, you would have the blade steel and then Spyderco insignia on the presentation side, one being the standard CPM S30V on this guy, and this one would be M390 steel, which would be presumably Bowler M390. So as you can see, I actually brought this one out so you can see that there are some similarities with regards to the FRN, but there's a slight, there's a slight differential when it comes to the texturing for the FRN. If you notice on the Spyderco Dragonfly, it's a little bit more bunched together to create something a little bit more grippy, in my opinion. And it's a little bit more spaced out on the Para 3, which still, it allows it to have some nice grip, but it is a small difference. One thing I noticed on these is, you still have the jimping both on the finger side right here in the finger choil and in the back right here, so you can get a nice grip for, piercing tasks or maybe cutting. And being that this has a nice thin full flat grind, it allows you to be able to go ahead and get some extremely great slicing out of this knife. And presumably, I mean, if this is meant to blow out performance wise what the S30V version does, man, let me tell you, the M390 is a fantastic steel for this. Now, I am a little bit conflicted, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Now, the standard S30V, G10 with the liners, in the Para 3 has been one that has been a part of my collection for a very long time. I'll talk about it later in one of my my videos, I guess, just, you know, specifying, you know, why I own this one and why this one will probably not leave my collection. But one thing I really like is the fact that the G10, in particular Spyderco's G10, it's very tactile without being overbearing. I like it a lot. There's a lot of G10 that's come out from a lot of other companies, like say, you know, Kaiser and such, where like say on the Gemini, it's very coarse and I like it in the hand. It's nice and grippy, but unfortunately it tears my pockets up. I've actually had to replace one of my pants already because it's completely eaten through the pocket on my jeans. You know, as an answer to that, you know, the equivalent in FRN, you know, the FRN is actually really good. It's not as harsh on pockets, and being that it has this clip, it makes sure that it doesn't, it's never really that harsh. And I really like the fact that this is one of the first models, if I recall correctly, that utilizes the compression lock, and that was something that they had to go ahead and work on for quite a bit to be able to get right on this particular knife. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and take it down, but just so you can see the inside and the inner workings of this knife. Let me see if I can get a little closer so you can see. Technically, there are no liners on either side except for just this portion in the back. It's, I guess you could call it a partial liner, but it's not really. It's really just the steel that's there to either reinforce, you know, the stop pin and the compression lock, as well as the inner workings here for the pivot and such. Other than that, you have what they've basically done is they've built in a washer to the all FRN side for this particular knife, and then you have a solitary phosphor bronze washer on the presentation side, on this side. Okay, you have your standard you know, torque screw bits. I believe that's a T6 and this is a T8, as well as down here to be able to go ahead and disassemble. And other than that, I mean, it's a pretty standard knife. It's pretty easy, almost Glock-like to be able to go ahead and take down. Not a lot of parts to it, you know, in comparison to some of these other models. And plus, one thing that you do not have to worry about here on the lanyard hole is the reinforcement in steel that they have put on the Para 2 and the Para 3 over here. That's always a big pain in the butt. So if you choose to go ahead and swap the FRN with, say, like the standard black version, or you want to take out this blade and you want to swap it out with, you know, say one of the G10 versions, it's going to be a lot easier to be able to go ahead and take this down than to go ahead and take this off and then take this all down to be able to put it back together. And now I do know that there is a part that was made, a tool that was specifically made by somebody on Instagram, and it escapes me right now exactly who it was, but they have a tool that's specifically made to safely remove this without marring the G10 or ruining the actual handles on your knife. And yeah, I would really like to go ahead and check one of those out to see if maybe a thing works like it should. But in any case, yeah, so back to this. Okay, I get it. It's the first big limited, you know, production run through DLT Trading for the Para 3, and it's an M390 with red handles, and it's really nice. The action is tight. I feel like I gotta work with it a little bit to be able to go ahead and break it in. I might put a little bit of lubricant in here, but in the meantime, I wanted to take it out while it was new and kind of flick it and go through it and just give my general thoughts. Now, in comparison to my standard G10 Para 3, would I take this over this? Well, it depends. Okay, so if I was in an office setting and I needed something that was lighter and I didn't have anything else, you know, let's say I didn't have my little, you know, G10 Dragonfly, which by the way is a great office knife. Yeah, I would actually choose this over the G10 version. It's you know, an ounce lighter. It's got a deep carry clip. It's got great steel. You know, the ergos are just as good as the Spyderco Para 3, the standard G10 version, and it's a little bit skinnier. So, you know, that makes a little bit of a difference in the pocket. Now, as opposed to the Dragonfly, you're going to notice that it's still quite a bit thicker, meaning it's going to be a bit taller, you know, next to the knife itself. So you're going to feel it a little bit more in the pocket, you know, as opposed to the Dragonfly. But then again, it's a much smaller knife when you're comparing it to the Para 3. Now, other than maybe office settings, which, I mean, unfortunately, there are a lot of knives that I can use for the office that I really wouldn't need this for. Maybe like a casual Friday would be great for. But the truth is, I mean, for just general EDC, I find nothing wrong with the standard Para 3 that I would put this away and I would reach for the lightweight. In all honesty, it's really not anything that I feel that is worth writing home about when you're comparing it to the standard G10 Para 3. So if you have one of these, in all honesty, I would say you're gonna kind of be disappointed if you feel like you're going to the lightweight as a bit of a step up, and it's the honest truth. And I have nothing against Spyderco; they make really great knives, and this is no exception. But I just kind of felt like, okay, well, they kind of did it to appeal to the masses. Now, there is something else I wanted to go ahead and talk about. Now, if you notice this, for the most part, it's centered. And if you notice on this guy, for the most part, it's almost centered, but it's kind of to the left towards the clip side. Watch what happens when I go ahead and apply a little bit of pressure. Yep, that's right. As a result of a little bit of flex, because of the fact that there aren't any liners, what happens is the blade itself tends to kind of shift a little bit when I apply a little bit of pressure. And the issue with the centering on this, I would say it partially has to do with the fact that it has a built-in washer instead of two washers like your standard Para 3 would, and it could be that it's just it needs some adjustments at the pivot. I don't know. I need to maybe look into that and see what's going on there. But aside from that, I mean, at the top, it does look like it's a little bit more. It's favoring the left side a little bit more than the right from up here. The problem is if I go ahead and I tighten the right screw to be able to go ahead and bring that in a little bit more, it's going to ruin the action for this knife, which already, since it's brand new, it's still kind of tight. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nice, the compression lock works flawlessly, and I don't feel any lock stick on it. It's just, I don't know, let me try that one more time. Yeah, I've never really been one to be a really good, Spidey flicker. Let me go ahead and try this one more time with there we go. Okay. But I just kind of feel like the action on this, it does take some time to break in, unlike what you would have with your standard Para 3. Now, my big issue with having the built-in liner is this. Say you use this enough, right? And, the bronze washer, it wears in. What's going to happen to the built-in washer? Is it FRN as well? If I'm not mistaken, I believe it is. So after a while, if there's some flex and pressure onto that FRN side, it's not really going to just wear in. It's going to keep wearing and it's going to keep wearing, and eventually you're going to get something that's going to be off, basically off-centered, and it's going to create some side-to-side blade play. There we go, like a normal human being. So that would be my only issue. And again, I could be wrong, but that's just something that would kind of keep me from wanting to use this knife a lot. And plus with this, I mean, let's face facts, you have the two bronze washers on here. I've actually disassembled this G10 version, and I've polished the washers a little bit. And just check this out, when I go ahead and I apply the pressure here, unlocking the compression lock, I mean, this thing is just, that's dropped shut, and I freaking love it. Okay, this is a great knife. I mean, I've put some work into this knife. I've resharpened it and on my KME, and it's actually a great worker's knife. I mean, it has a working finish. It's not it's nothing perfect, but goddamn, this thing is a freaking laser. I don't doubt the sharpness of the M390, and I can tell you from factory, it's nice and thin at the edge, and it's very slicey. And I'm sure it'll be great. And the good thing about this is that the blades are swappable between the lightweight and the G10 version. So if you wanted to go and swap that, it's perfectly fine. They have the same size holes, it has the same dimensions internally, and they do work fine. Now, my verdict on this particular knife: is it a buy it or is it a borrow? I would say maybe borrow if you can find somebody that will lend this to you. This is sold out from DLT Trading. Although between us, stay watching the DLT website, because I got a feeling that there are going to be people that are going to be returning this knife, and because they're just going to be disappointed with, you know, kind of, they kind of wanted to look at it, they wanted to see what you know, it looked like and how it felt in their hand, and I think that they're not going to be as satisfied as the standard, you know, G10 Para 3. Plus, in the bento box shop, I believe they carry not only the blue but the red versions in M390, or they come in and out every now and then. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's really not something that I liked a lot. And it sucks because, you know, it's hard for me to say from a company like Spyderco. I mean, they even make backlocks freaking awesome. You know, they have the Endura, they have the Andela, they have the Delica, they have the Dragonfly, you know, in FRN, which are great. Also linerless, by the way, with the deep carry clip. And then they have great G10 models, you know, but I feel like this particular model, the Para 3 Lightweight, is an answer searching for a question. Yeah, and I guess I'm gonna go ahead and have to leave it at that. Now, the other half of this is, you know, where you would get it from. Now, you're either going to get it from the secondary market, which they're probably going to be marked up, or somebody that's just going to want to liquidate it because he can't stand it. He just wants, you know, his money back. Or you can probably get it from DLT Trading. Chances are they're going to come back with another round with this in the future. They did have quite a few, and it took a surprisingly long time for them to be able to sell out of these. Granted, they did sell out, but I want to say it took like about a day or a day and a half, as opposed to maybe 3 to 5 minutes, like, I don't know, say the Spyderco Para 2 in 20 CV steel and tan G10 that I picked up and I reviewed not too long ago. So, you know, it's one of those things that, depending on demand, is whether they bring it back and how much of you know, the knife that they bring it back. I will say that DLT Trading, if you plan on buying from a retailer and you want to go ahead and pre-order a knife, if you are going to be paying via PayPal, if you're looking for something exclusive, if you want that you know, personalized touch, I am telling you right now, DLT Trading is a fantastic online retailer to deal with. Like I said, they're PayPal friendly. You know, they have exclusive like this that, you know, not only for folders but for fixed blades, but their customer service and their shipping time is freaking fantastic. I remember ordering this right when it came out. I think the drop was on Eastern time. It was around 12 o'clock Eastern. And at 3 o'clock, I got my shipping notification letting me know it was in the mail. And I literally got it in the mail 3 days later with just standard shipping. Granted, they're not too far from where I live. I think that they're in the next state over, or, you know, about a state or two over. But still, you know, for $129.95 on this guy, shipped and to my door in 3 days, getting the shipping notification within about 3 hours. I'm sorry, but when somebody pays me via PayPal for a knife that I'm selling, I have trouble getting getting notification and putting it in the box and getting it sent out within 3 hours myself. So for it being such a large company and them getting such a large amount of, you know, knives, not only the Para 3 Lightweight exclusive, but all of their other ones, and then setting it to, you know, ship out within 3 hours, I have to give them an honorable mention in this video. And that's why the sticker's up here. They do send out this sticker as a part of the package that comes with the Spyderco. So big kudos to DLT Trading. They are freaking awesome. And yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to go ahead and leave the review based on that. So DLT Trading, fantastic. The knife is great, but if you do own a Spyderco Para 3 and G10, the only thing that I would tell you is, you know, go ahead and update the you know, the clip to something deep carry as opposed to the standard one. You can use a Lynch, a Casey Lynch. You can use an MXG gear. In this particular case, it's an MXG gear clip, and it's been well used, and you can tell that it's seen better days. I don't know if you can tell, but the titanium clip has been roughed up quite a bit in its time, but it's still fantastic. It's still really good. That's the only thing that I would tell you to switch. And if you own this particular knife, you're really not going to find the Para 3 lightweight, you know, in BD1N or M390 to be something to write home about. I like it, don't get me wrong, it's very nice in concept, but once executed, I kind of feel like now that it's in my hand, I don't know, it's not really something that I was as enamored as I thought I would be with it, because the Para 3, in my opinion, is my favorite EDC knife from Spyderco. I mean, I can put it in my pocket, and I mean, it's just, I have no problem whatsoever using it for whatever tasks that come about. So that being said, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram. My IG is at Daily Carry Solutions. You can also reach out to me via my website using the contact button or link at dailycarrysolutions.com. And remember, guys, no matter whether you carry FRN or G10, if you EDC, think of DCS. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.